welcome to the episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we have a fun one for you. We'll be sharing our thoughts on Priscilla, the movie. We will talk about the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes trailer reaction, talk about the most streamed movies of the week, and then we'll finish it off with a little fun chart of picking our candy. As always, I'm joined by my buddy here, Mr. John Fisher. How are you today, buddy?
I am doing pretty good. Look, I'm a real quick. I'm gonna put y'all up on a little game, right? Despite all the lists that we saw going around recently about where not to take somebody on the first date, Olive Garden is popping sometimes, and that's just facts. Now, recently, me and my wife went, and they have the little endless pasta bowls, right? This is how they get you not to eat that much. The first pasta bowl you get is going to be a gigantic portion. What they don't tell you is you don't necessarily have to finish that portion to get another round. And then you can also still take home what you didn't eat. We slowly kind of figured that out. We were kind of like, do we have to finish the whole thing? So what they do is they're going to get the big portion. The next portion is a little smaller, but they're not expecting you to get that next one because the first one is so damn big on top of the breadsticks and the salad. So it is worth the money because essentially the next courses are going to be free because the first portion is the cost of a regular entree. But you can order another one before you finish, and you can take whatever you have left over home. So it's a good little $40 date, and you both are satisfied, full, and it's all good.
I mean, I don't know about y'all guys, but I didn't realize at the beginning of the Popcorn People podcast we be learning stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
you know what I'm saying?
you know what I mean? Sometimes you got to spin it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this just look, I'm going to just be honest with you guys. This just shows you that the Popcorn People podcast is for the people.
For the people.
Like, we're for the people here. I don't know. Maybe that is, for the people. We get shirts for the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what we're going to do here. We're for the people. But I love it. I mean, look, that list came around. It's funny to me because when it went live, like if we would have been live last week, 1000% would have talked about that. That would have been the number one thing we talked about at the end of the show. Like that list to me was insane.
Yeah.
Like, never in my life did I expect to read half the things that were on that list.
And it's crazy.
What do you want, Ruth Chris on day one?
I know. And look, some more game for everyone out there dating. You shouldn't expect the high dollar date on the first date because that person don't know you. You don't know that person. Like that's crazy to think that I should spend 100 plus on somebody I don't know, and I might not like you. That might be the first day I'm like, this person's terrible, and why did we go on this date? So I say the third date. That's when you go kind of big. The first one, you want to go somewhere simple, have conversation, vibe off each other. The second one, that's where you can get a good, decent meal, maybe a movie or something. And the third one is where you're like, you know what? I really like this person. Let me stun a little bit. And then you get into the relationship territory.
Yeah, exactly. Like to think that you get that Ruth Chris day one, like what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, I don't think that person. I guarantee you that person got ready to tweet that out or put it out there in the universe and thought they had a win. You know what I mean? 100% thought they had a win, and it was like, oh, that backfired, didn't it? You know what I mean? Like you fell right on your face.
It's got progression. You can do the simple, movie and dinner is a good middle ground because the movie's going to be around 40. You're going to spend around 40 to 60 at dinner, and then the next one's your big one. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you 100%. Like I said, it's crazy to me that yeah. So yeah, that being said, we're back live this week. Just a programming note for you guys at home. We are preemptive next week, as I will be on the road quite again. But that said, it should be our last non-live show possibly of the year. I don't know. Life happens between now and then, but we'll keep.
Right.
But let's go ahead and jump into the trailer of the week.
Man, what we have, the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Honestly, this was a surprise to me when this dropped. I forgot they were making another sequel. This is one of the longest running franchises, I feel like, that doesn't, it never quite ends. It kind of gets to a point, they'll stop, a new kind of director, whole cast, everybody, it starts over. But this one seems like it's been going for like 10 years. Um, but I will say, I'm gonna see it. Let's be real. I've always loved the franchise. Um, I love to see, like, now that, like, it, to me, the trailer kind of symbolizes that even though the apes are now in this ruling class of themselves, it's just turning into humanity, right? Everything's kind of starting over, but through this ape vision, which is going to end up probably being the same thing. Somebody wants to be in power. Somebody is the rebel, the upriser, and I'm curious to see how all this is gonna play out. But what do you think?
I had no idea they were making it. Neither did I. Fun fact: I've never watched any of them. Okay, so let's be honest. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest. I first watched these and thought they were terrible. Okay, I recently rewatched all three and was mesmerized. Like it, they're really, really good movies. The
Yeah,
most recent three, it is like they're the
yeah,
most recent three. Was it Matthew Reeves? Is it right?
I think so.
The guy that did Batman? Maybe. Whatever. Somebody Reeves. Somebody. But that being said, this trailer, little teaser, minute 20, perfect. I don't need it. To be honest with you, if I got no more trailers or anything about this movie, I would be okay. Now that you
Yeah,
forced me to watch this trailer, I don't have to watch any more trailers because we're not going to rewatch another trailer on the show. So I'm very happy about that. But this teaser, 1 minute, 28 seconds, everything I needed to know is going to happen. First off, it's visually stunning. Absolutely visually stunning. Very beautiful to look at. Very excited to see where it goes, especially, like I said, reignited love of the franchise. Very excited to see where it goes. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all.
and what's even scarier is that, like, this is one of those, a fantastical idea. Like, what happens when a creature that we know is intelligent, gets to this point because of experiments and whatnot. But if you go look up videos of gorillas, like recent videos on YouTube, they're doing more human things. Like, I remember the first one I saw that kind of caught my eye was they were looking at this gorilla in this I don't know if it was a zoo or a sanctuary, but he has a book in his hand. And then he stands up on 2 feet and just kind of walks off on 2 feet, just like he was tired of it all. And then I saw this recent one last week where uh, there's some apes out there. It starts raining and they're grabbing stuff to cover their heads and run into the enclosure so they don't get wet. And I was like, that's one of the most human looking things I've ever seen an animal do. So the further we get into our current history, uh, these films aren't that far off. It looks like,
Yeah, for sure.
um,
It's
especially
pretty
with
wild.
neural links and stuff popping up. Like, who's to say that no one somehow puts their consciousness inside of an ape? I mean, anything's possible at this point.
Anything really, honestly. We're yeah. I mean, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this movie's about. You know what I mean? Like I mean, it sold me right away. Trailer, it did its job, and I wish we'd go back to those days where we just got little clippets of trailers, and it was just like, this is all you get.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like, I don't. There's so many trailers now that I feel like you see the entire movie
yeah,
in the trailer, and it's like, you know, I don't need to see all that. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
When
I just
people
don't.
have the thought of, like, I know what the whole movie's about, you go, I don't really want to. Even if they do want to see that movie, they're like, they make that second thought of, like, I don't know, because I already kind of figured it out.
Yeah,
Or it's just, there's some films where you go and all the best parts were in the trailer and you're like, this, I want my money back.
yeah, I totally agree. Let's go ahead and flip to some news of the week. One of my favorite things I've been doing as of late is keeping track of the most streamed titles across the board, whether it's movies and TVs. Just quickly run those down for you guys. Over on Netflix, on the film side of things, it's Pain Hustlers. I have not seen it yet. I've heard it's not very good. So it's just I've been too busy to put it on my list of what I want to watch. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. TV side of things, Bodies, Netflix. Actually, I've never even heard of that. So it must be good, or most streamed. I don't know. Not always good. HBO side, Meg 2 is back on top again. TV side of things, 30 Coins. Disney Plus, Elemental still number 1. I don't care what Dom says. That's an awesome movie. Disney Plus, Loki season 2. Have not watched any of that yet.
It was good.
Prime Video is the same as last week's or 2 weeks ago when we talked about The Burial and Gen V. Paramount Plus, still haven't seen The Burial yet. I really want to though. Paramount Plus side of things, Pet Sematary Bloodlines. Did not watch that.
It's not great.
And then on the TV side of that is South Park. Hulu, you have Cobweb in 2020, and then of course on Apple TV, the movies Curses. I don't even know what that is. And then Apple TV side of things, it is the morning show again. That gets ready to wrap up this past Friday or the coming Friday. But yeah, definitely some things to keep an eye out for. Also, I would say that just a few quick tidbits of news. Obviously, we saw Snow White push to 2025. Deadpool not coming out May-ish, maybe. Probably not. And then the last thing I want to say about any of this stuff is I would really just greatly appreciate it if the studios decided to pay their actors. That's just really at the top of the list. You know what I'm saying? I really just wish that Pain Hustlers Storm was. Oh, shit. She just slandered The Big Short. The Big Short is a banger of a film. I love The Big Short. Wow. Amanda, get out of here. Wow. That's harmful. And she knew what she was doing whenever she said that. She tweeted it out, and I almost wanted to take her to business about it. But I don't know. I'm really, really frustrated with that comment now. I don't even know where to go from here. I don't know what we're talking about.
I will say I saw what SAG posted something either yesterday morning or this morning talking about the AMPTP said they're sending they sent their last offer, the final offer. So we'll see what happens because you need these people. That's how you got rich, because of the people that you're trying not to pay. I don't fucking understand how it's like complicated to like. You don't need a private island, bro. You don't need all these private jets because we're gonna think you're doing some suspect shit with all this money. So spread that shit around and let us enjoy this art like we love.
That's crazy because at the end of the day, sure, these individuals, they're not making any money acting. But the problem is these studios, if they don't start paying these people, they're going to lose billions with a B next year, multiple billions. Because if you look at the slate of films right now, it's ugly. It's going to be an ugly first couple of months. It's going to be ugly first couple of months anyway, because people aren't working right now. So the thing about it is what you need to do is if you're getting paid now, we're working through the holidays. We're working in January, February. Then at least we can salvage spring, summer, fall of 2024. But yeah, I just figured I need to go back on that little rant real quick on that again. But yeah, I'm frustrated that we haven't come to a deal yet. Pay these people what they're worth. But let's go ahead and dive right into our movie review of the week.
Yeah. We have Priscilla, the highly anticipated Priscilla. When teenager Priscilla Bolu meets Elvis Presley at a party, the man who's already a meteoric rock and roll superstar becomes someone entirely unexpected in private moments, a thrilling crush, an ally in loneliness, and a gentle best friend. I believe you saw this film before I did. That's directed by the one and only Sofia Coppola. So you had a little more time to stew, because I know it's one of those films that it does take a little. You want to sit and let it, marinate. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so this is a film that honestly, I have thought about quite a bit. Um, for the good and for the bad, I think on both elements of it. It's I feel like the film really brings to life the relationship, the groundwork of how this relationship happened. And it was wild to watch it kind of unfold. It's wild to watch how much of her parents had a dealing with it, because it's very much like they played such a big role in how she got from point A to point B. Like, it's really crazy that they just allowed their daughter to do this without any questions or anything like that. Sofia Coppola is one of those writer directors that I love dearly. I love her work. I think her work is magnificent. She has storytelling elements to her films that really are just beautiful and poetic. It always brings out amazing performances. Kaylee Spaney is mesmerizing as Priscilla. I am yet still blown away by what she brought to the table, because there's a multitude of layers of this performance that you see. First off, the makeup work was so good, because she's this, yeah, she's like 27 or something like that in real life. She looked every bit of 14 in those scenes. You know what I mean? And it's crazy, because the one thing I love about this is always the conversation of, is, it doesn't paint Elvis in this bad picture. In my opinion, I don't think it paints it nearly as bad as people are claiming it is. But my friend Kenzie, she wrote a review, and this is what she said about this exact element. Priscilla does not ever set out to show Elvis only as a monster, but a man of the time, and a complicated one of that. Elvis yearns for connection and real love, but doesn't understand how to be a partner back to someone. You can check out her full review over at OscarCentral.com. But the thing about it is it's very much, people seem to forget, a man of that time. That time, that era, like, these sorts of things were okay. Does it make it okay? No. Nobody's saying it makes it okay, but this was a normal thing that happened in that time. To me, it's in my top 10 movies of the year. I loved it quite a bit. The ending, the ending is questionable. A lot of people, I do know that's how the book ends, and that's why a lot of people defend the ending by that. It kind of abruptly. I think I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more of the older battle between Elvis and Priscilla. That I would have loved to seen a little bit more. But um, Kaylee Spaney, just fantastic performance. One of the best performances you'll see this year. What do you got, my guy?
Yeah, for me, Priscilla was. It's crazy that this movie, it definitely has Sophia Coppola's touch. It's aggressively delicate in the best way possible. It somewhat demystifies Elvis, but not in a negative way, but in a human way. You kind of get this um, caged bird sensation throughout the film, where it kind of tells this story of, you know, you think you want that superstar, you want to be in the shoes of the person who's with him, but it's not always, exactly what you think it's going to be like. You think you're going to be flying on the all over the place on the road, you're going to meet all these people and all these parties, and really you are stuck at home by yourself with along with your thoughts. It's there It is jarring in some regards, but it's the story we already kind of know, so it takes away the sting a little bit. But just seeing how, we have this young high school student, a freshman, and then ends up into the life of a grown man, and there are some lines that are going to hit your ear a little weird, like, "Oh, you're just a baby." Afterwards, like, "You want to go to my room and talk?" It's going to sound weird. It is, but it does take its time. It does have all these intricacies that I think only a woman director really notices and really pays attention to. Um, like you said, the makeup is amazing. It's a crazy story, and it took me a while to fully come to my conclusion because I'm thinking about, okay, what did I learn that I didn't already learn? And I knew a lot of the stuff. My mom, had talked about this stuff before. She read the books or watched the other type of documentaries, but I came to realize this is one you stew with because you do realize like this movie is, a snapshot into this person's life where it may not seem that adventurous or that thrilling because it wasn't. This person thought she was getting the world, and she did in some regards, but she didn't get the person that she wanted the most, which was Elvis. She got the car, she got the money, she gets, you know, um, anything she wants except for being seen with him on a regular basis and his love fully because he doesn't know how to love. I think it shows that he gravitates towards this person because his life also started at a very young age, and he doesn't know how to be. He knows the people around him, what they tell him to do, and she is in that same boat, but she's looking for him for guidance when he's looking for somebody that's not really there for him. Everybody wants a piece of the pie, and it's this weird conundrum of who's right and who's wrong, and it's kind of like they're both right, they're both wrong because they only know what they know. It's one of those ones that you're gonna leave initially and be like, huh, I mean, what really happened? And then as you stew on it, you realize so much happened, but it was the unhappening that was happening. So yeah, it's definitely, I put it in my top, I think 15 originally, but like it has slowly crept up into like this was a real work of art. The filmmaking is like pristine. Like there's no flaws. I think the only flaw in the movie that I saw is there was times that I couldn't quite understand Jacob Ellerdy's like accent. There were some words that were muffled, but like us from the South, that happens.
There's a
You
yeah, yeah, baby,
Yeah,
baby,
and you kind of go,
baby.
okay,
I will say this too. Uh, everybody's freaking out. The height difference was shot so fucking great.
yeah,
It showed Elvis and as this he didn't have to be this intimidating figure. You didn't have to have him do anything. You had this dominant figure just
yeah,
over the top of her the entire time. One of my favorites and one of my favorite scenes in the movie that shows the snapping. So many different times he belittles her, says something bad, but then she walks away, and then he's like, "No, baby, I'm sorry." You know what I mean? Like, no,
yeah,
no, still, no, this. And the scene where he asks her about the song, and he goes, "What do you think of the song?" And she just was like honest about it, and he threw a chair at her, and it
after
was
he
like,
already
"Oh,
said he didn't like it.
yes." After he said he didn't like it, it was like, "Whoa!" And then the moment he throws the chair, he realizes what he did, and it was like that fast. He was, coddling her, and
Yeah,
it's crazy because like people fail to realize, yeah, Elvis was the biggest movie star, rock star, everything all at one time, and he didn't get a chance to process a lot of what life had in store for him. But no excuses for what he did. But it's hard to become a man when you don't know how to be a man. You know what I mean? You didn't have
yeah,
a man figure. You had a father that was ready to take advantage of who you were. You had all of these things play into that. But I don't know, man. Just a very, very, very good film.
yeah, and
Um,
and I think that another interesting aspect of it is the fact that you know you have him losing his mother, and essentially he's looking for a mother figure. It just happens that because you wonder why did he latch onto her when he can get all these women that he wants. Why did he latch onto her? And I think it's a combination of her um, the softness of her personality. She listens. She seems caring, and this is somebody who was outside of this lifestyle that he was a part of. So she became a mother figure before she became a lover, and I feel like that's what kind of that dynamic was throughout. And then, of course, there's that conscious, and I always want to know about this aspect of the story because it's always been debated on whether or not anything happened before they got married. And of course, because she has love for Elvis, like real life Priscilla, I don't think she would ever want to expose all the possible dirty laundry.
But the thing about
Uh,
it is, it's always been rumored that they didn't sleep together until she turned 18. Like that was
right.
one of the things that it could. I mean, obviously, like people have always taken it out of context, even though it says in Priscilla and Me exactly that. But it's crazy to
Yeah.
think that, again, not condoning anything that he did, but there was some sort of him that appreciated that version of the innocence within her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, there was a lot of things that he did wrong, but the innocence of that, at the same token, that means he realizes, he knew what he was doing was wrong at the same
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a balance there, you know?
Yeah. It's definitely you get a better look at because now honestly it's kind of a good companion piece to the Elvis movie
Yeah.
because we got to see the raucous, bright lights, rebel person that he was to everybody else, and on this side we get to see the real him through the eyes of Priscilla and her experience. Because it's like any other big star that we know of, he's surrounded by yes men, and all these guys seem to be older than him. He's controlled by the colonel, as we all know, and then a father who also was benefiting from him being famous. So it's a lot of things to take on as a young woman, young girl to young woman, with a man who has a whole bunch of baggage
Yeah.
and no
Yeah.
tools to unpack any of it.
Yeah. I agree. 100%. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Let's see here. We are going to transition to some recommendations. All right. I've watched a lot over the last couple of weeks. But obviously with these recommendations, I always like to talk about things that you're able to see as well. One of the things I want to talk about this week is Quiz Lady over on Hulu. I really enjoyed this. I thought Sandra Oh and Aquafina played really well off each other. The script had some really hilarious beats to it, while having a strong story under it all. Thought it was fantastic. Perfect little comedy streaming movie. You can catch Quiz Lady on Hulu right now, and the documentary Sly, about Sylvester Stallone. By far, not just one of my favorite documentaries of the year, but one of my favorite films of the year. Sylvester Stallone was an important figure in my life growing up and stuff like that. So it really, really blew me away to hear certain aspects of it. I've seen a lot of people complain about certain elements of it not being so. It's really a fascinating look at who the man is and how he became who he was, and listening to Sly have conversations about his old self, of the mistakes that he made and knew that he made, was pretty cool. So what about you, Don?
Um, Something that recently dropped on Netflix was Old Dads. I finally checked it out. Um, I think it's a fun movie. I know it's been getting a lot of flack online, but it's this mishmash of Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z, and just how the world's changed. I mean, essentially that's what it is. The world is changing, and you're getting this perspective from Gen X and how the changes are affecting them, negative and positive. And it's very interesting because no matter what generation you're a part of, you have to be able to see the gray and everything that's being said and everything's being shown in the film because it is vastly different and the changes are they're abrupt, but they're abrupt in a way that is so negative to a person's life that it's not fair in many instances. But the movie's funny. I think it's a lot of fun. The trio is great together because like I'm glad we're at this point in movies where the friend groups are authentically different, not just different for the sake of being like we need a smart guy in a job, but most friend groups, everybody dresses a little same. Everybody has their own little things, and it's done very well, I think, in this movie. So if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. And
Oh,
then
I really thought it was good. I'd even watch
yeah,
another one. You know what I mean? I'd watch another
yeah,
one. You
yeah.
know?
I thought Bill Burr like redeemed himself
Yeah, for
from that
sure.
stand up.
Yeah.
And then
Like what you say though.
show wise, we did get the end of Gen V. Gen V was a great series. I dropped a review for Invincible. I've seen the first 4 episodes. I know there's only one right now. So this is
I saw the first one.
it's part 1 of season 2 because they're doing the first 4, and then the second 4 are going to be at the top of 2024. But this season is going to be really good. It's expansive. It's still brutal, not as brutal because it's not trying to prove anything anymore because it's season 2. We're not trying to prove what we had to prove in
I
season
I think
1.
for me with what they're doing, this part one is, and you can tell it's got a much more deeper emotional beats to it that I
Yeah,
think is going to lead to kind of that explosive second half. You know
exactly,
what I mean? Which I'm
exactly.
But the first season, you're doing all the glitz and glamour, gore, and all this stuff. I personally didn't love season one that much. I thought it was okay, but I'm sorry. I've seen the first two of season two, and I like it a lot of where it's going. It's got given it a grounded level that we really
Yep.
don't see in the comic book world, especially animated version of the comic book world. It's not, in my opinion, it's crazy like the boys, but with this, I feel like there's a more meatier storyline here
Yeah.
that draws you in a way that I have never really been drawn into in this type of world. So I really, because you can have the gore and all of that, but I've got to have some sort of substance, and that's where like the
Yeah.
boys kind of lost me. I didn't feel like it's been more style over substance, and I don't feel like I've gotten that emotional connection anymore. Here, I was reeled in from like midway through the first episode,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, all right, this is what we're
Yeah.
doing. Okay, I like this. I like it a lot. So I'm really enjoying what they're presenting this season so far. So
Yeah, it's. I mean, they're giving everybody's getting their shine. Everybody has a storyline that's gonna you can tell it's gonna intertwine with others that I think is in a really good way. And we see. I mean, episode 3 and 4. I'm not gonna spoil them in any way, but it ramps up. It starts to ramp up a little bit, and the way that 4 ends is a great way to leave it if you're going to have a mid-season, break to lead into the last 4. And I know beforehand before I posted my review, I saw people talking about it upcoming, and they were upset that there was only 8 episodes. And I think I put in my review, of course we want more, but when you get 8 really solid episodes to where it does leave you wanting more. I rather feel somewhat satiated than completely satiated. I want to be like, oh, I want seconds and thirds. But if you give me 22 episodes of something, I'm gonna eventually like teeter off. We know there's gonna be filler episodes. So 8, yeah, could they have done 10? Maybe, but 8 I think is a solid number. Especially because they're trying to keep our attention as well. They know that
yeah,
there's a million shows you can watch, so 8 is like right at that good point.
it's funny to me because there's a show that I just watched. Can't talk about it yet. I mean, I could say that I've seen it. It's called Obliterated. It's coming out Netflix at the end of the month, and I'm not going to say anything about it. But there's so many shows that overstay their welcome, and it's
Hmm.
like there's so many shows that come out. This could have been 6 episodes instead of 8. It could have been 8 instead of 10. There's so many shows that overstay the welcome. Like you don't have to have those golden days of 20 23 episodes. Like nobody wants to see there's no a lot of shows don't warrant 20 23 episodes
No,
anymore. You know what I mean? And
no,
like let these things be 6 to 8 episodes. Let these things have a limited series feel to them. So when we get it every time, we appreciate the
yeah,
quality, over the quantity. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
Yep.
But yeah, I expect people to enjoy the rest of this. I hope they enjoy the rest of the season because I think it's pretty great. So, all right, let's move to ranking some stuff before we get out of here, guys. All right, like we do every time, we like to throw up a little graph, maybe do a little something, something. We like to rank things. So I sent my boy Dom over this Build Your Halloween Candy Dream lineup. You got $15 to spend. I went, I don't know what you did, but I went, I wanted to have multiple things on my radar.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
spent my $15 pretty fruitfully, but what did you end up buying with your 15?
I got one that I know that people are going to hate, and that's okay with me. So I started off, with some Reese cups. That's the classics.
Same,
Those are the go-to. And for
same,
some reason, they're a lot better when they're in an individual package. I don't know what it is, but they taste different.
100%.
Then I went Starburst. I need a little taffy, fruity, chewy type of thing. Then I was like, okay, that's 9. Let me even it out real quick. I went candy corn. People don't like it. I like candy corn. I'm not a hater of it. I've always kind of liked it.
It's not bad.
Then I went up for some Sour Patch Kids. It's usually always some kind of a go-to for me. And then lastly, I was like, what's the last one? I can do two $1 or a $2, and I went with the $2. I went with Airheads. And the classic little slap the whole thing down to the bottom. It ain't new.
Yeah,
Are you little
old
Gen
school.
Zers? That ain't new. When we're doing this and getting out to the bottom of the package, we invented that. Okay, damn
Yeah,
it.
we've been doing that. That's the only way to eat an airhead. What are you talking about? You talking about we invented him. So I went the same boat. I switched a couple times. I was trying to navigate where I was going at. I went Reese's Cup. It's the goat. It's the goat. Period. You know what I mean? Especially if you get me a Christmas tree, or you get me a pumpkin, or you get me an Easter egg, whatever it is, it's the goat. Period. Those are the goats. But for it, I tried to figure out a way to get a little bit of like some different variety here, but I went the Reese's Pieces. Almost went Butterfinger, went Reese's Pieces instead. Dropped down to $1. I went Tootsie Pops. I'm like, when I was a kid,
I almost did that.
When I was a kid, I loved Warheads. I don't like gummy bears. I've never liked gummy bears. I think they're terrible.
They're delicious.
Candy corn's fine. I don't mind candy corn. I just, if I'm going to eat abundance of things, if I'm building a lineup, Tootsie Pop just was Tootsie Rolls. You're getting a Tootsie Roll inside the Tootsie Pop. So I'm getting double dipping. You know what I'm saying? And then I went up to the $3. This one was hard because I went Reese's Pieces. I didn't want to go M&Ms too because it was like hard. I almost really wanted to go peanut M&Ms because I love peanut M&Ms. But I went Three Musketeers here. I have no regrets because I don't like Sour Patch Kids. I think they're terrible. And M&Ms I didn't want to. Junior Mints are really good, but I can only eat Junior Mints. Like I'm weird. I can't have Junior Mints and then like drink a soda or anything. Like it's just the textures. Like it's minty. You know what I mean? You can't do that. And then my $2 one was hard. I almost went, you know what? I'm gonna go Swedish Fish just because I needed some sort of different texture here. I really like the Hershey bar. The Hershey bar only being $2 is really a smack in the face to the Hershey bar. It's such a good thing. Like Kit Kat bar should not be $5. I'm sorry, it shouldn't be.
No.
But yeah, I struggled a little bit just because I really like Butterfingers. However, as I've gotten older, I like the miniature Butterfingers versus the big Butterfingers now.
Yeah. No, it's funny you say that because, when we took little man trick-or-treating, he was like, oh, do you want some of this candy? Like, he gave me the stuff he didn't like. Or stuff he knew that I liked and he didn't really like. And one of them was a Butterfinger, and it was a full-size one. And I only ate like 2 bites, and I was like, I'm good. Like, it's something about, you don't need the whole thing.
No, just the little fun size ones, a little small ones. I really like those small Butterfinger ones now. But there's something again, but it's also that the texture with the teeth. You know what I mean? Like the teeth thing is plays a lot of effect. But yeah, man, I don't know. I could have just went 3 Reese's cups here and been okay. You know what I mean? Like it would have been perfectly fine. But Dom, you got any words of wisdom before we part ways here?
Words of wisdom. Look, The world is crazy. You got to see the gray. Everything's not black and white. I don't care how much you want it to be. It's just not. Everybody has a story. Everybody has a perspective, and you gotta find some middle ground. That's all we can do, because everything can't be up and down, left and right, blue or red, black and white. It can't. It just can't. You gotta live in the gray. And when we all figure out that we have to be in that gray area and we can see perspectives on both sides and we can, experience the pain of other people, then maybe we'll, find some solace, find some peace, and start actually attacking the people that need to be attacked, the ones who are rich and don't want to spread the wealth around. You feel me?
Yeah. I mean, I got nothing else to add to that. So, Dom, wise words on his way out the door. But thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.